They told me I would ruin everything just by existing, so I built something they could never touch. The words still echo in my head sometimes. But let me start from the beginning, from that Sunday dinner in Charleston when my entire world tilted, and I finally saw my family for exactly what they were. I had driven up from my studio apartment that October evening, the kind of golden autumn day where the light hits the historic buildings just right. I should have known something was wrong the moment I walked through the door of my parents' pristine home. My mother Eleanor had that particular look on her face, the one she wore when she was about to do something unpleasant but necessary. My father Robert sat at the head of the mahogany table, silent as always, bourbon already half empty. My younger sister Chloe was there too, radiant in cream cashmere, her engagement ring catching the light. Her fiancé Chad sat beside her, that smug smile playing at his mouth. I should have left then, but I had spent 28 years trying to be the daughter they wanted, the sister who did not cause problems. So I sat down, smoothed my black dress, and waited. Eleanor did not wait until after the appetizers. She set down her wineglass with deliberate precision and looked directly at me. Calantha, after careful consideration, your father and I have decided you will not be attending Chloe's wedding. The words hung in the air. I heard them, understood each word, but my brain could not process them. Around me, no one moved. Chad's smirk widened. Chloe looked down. My father sipped bourbon. I'm sorry, what? You're too different, Calantha. Your presence would make Chad's family uncomfortable. You always make everything about yourself, turn every event into your own performance. Something sharp twisted in my chest. I had barely existed in their presence. Before I could respond, Chloe leaned forward with that wounded voice. Calantha, please don't make my special day about you. Just this once, can't you think about someone else? The unfairness stole my breath. I had spent my life thinking about others. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through community college because they spent my college fund on Chloe's equestrian lessons. I moved back home for a year after graduation to help with expenses. I had skipped my own celebrations, so nothing would take attention from my little sister. And now they were uninviting me, not asking me to skip it. Uninviting me, in front of everyone. My mother stood and retrieved an old photo album. Look at this, she said, pointing to my high school graduation. See how you tower over everyone? Wearing all black, that expression on your face. You ruined this photo, Calantha, just like you've ruined so many others. She turned pages, jabbing at image after image. Every photo. Every single one. You make everything difficult. I felt something crack inside. I pushed back from the table, needing air. I made it 2 steps before my father moved. He walked to the entryway and picked up my car keys. He held them in his fist. Calm down, Calantha. Don't make this worse. That was when I understood. He was complicit. He had always been complicit. His silence was not neutrality, it was approval. I looked at each of them. My mother with that photo album like evidence. My father holding my keys hostage. Chloe playing victim. Chad barely suppressing amusement. Okay, I said, voice steady. I understand. Congratulations on the wedding, Chloe. I walked out. I left everything and walked 3 miles back to my apartment in the October darkness, and with every step, something fundamental shifted inside me. By the time I reached my loft overlooking the Ashley River, my feet were blistered but my mind was crystalline clear. I poured wine, pulled out my laptop, and called Liam. The video connected on the second ring. Liam's face filled the screen, backlit by California Sunday. He was assistant director on a film in Los Angeles. Seeing his face made something in my chest loosen. What happened? I told him everything. Not sobbing, but with cold, clear anger that felt like power. The dinner, the photo album, my mother's words, my father's betrayal. They crossed me out, Liam. Out of their own family. Liam leaned closer, voice intense. Then we won't disappear. I know a place. Not some fake venue like the Hamptons where Chloe's having hers. Somewhere real that will make their wedding look like a cheap imitation. What are you saying? We get married. The same day as Chloe. We show them what real love looks like. The idea was audacious. Petty. Perfect. Where? Big Sur. I've been there for location scouts. Most beautiful place I've ever seen. Cliffs dropping into the Pacific, waves like thunder, sunsets like the end of the world. Small, intimate, real. Just people who actually love us. We talked until 3 in the morning, building our plan. October 20th, the same day. We would keep it secret, invite only 10 close friends. It would be about reclaiming something stolen from me my whole life, the right to exist fully, to be celebrated instead of tolerated. I sat watching city lights reflect off the river and felt like myself for the first time in years. Not the smaller, quieter version I had molded myself into, the real me. Tall, wearing all black, taking up space unabashedly. I was done apologizing for existing. If they did not want me at their wedding, fine. I would build something they could never touch. The next 3 weeks passed in secret planning. Liam flew back and we drove west, leaving my family behind with every mile. We found an incredible venue at Post Ranch Inn in Big Sur, perched on cliffs with views that made my heart ache. I invited Julian, my best friend, and sought-after wedding photographer. When I told him our plan, he grinned. I don't just want pretty pictures, Julian. I want weapons. I want every photo to be a statement. When you post them, I want the world to see. Consider it done. We're going to break the internet. We invited 8 other friends, people who had seen me at my worst and chosen to love me anyway. I told no one in my family, blocked their numbers, needing space to build this beautiful, defiant thing. But secrets slipped through. Madison, Chloe's cousin and maid of honor, found a large deposit to Post Ranch Inn on the shared credit card statement. She sent a screenshot to my mother within minutes. The calls started the next day. I was in Arizona when my phone started buzzing. I finally answered Chloe's call. She was screaming. What are you doing? Are you trying to destroy my life? Destroy your life? You said my presence would ruin your day. I'm just following your wishes. I won't be at your wedding. Stunned silence, then my mother's voice. You selfish little bitch. How dare you? Cancel this right now, or you're no daughter of mine. The threat made me laugh. Not a nice laugh. The sound of something breaking free. I stopped being your daughter when you uninvited me, Mother. I'm just making it official. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt alive. The texts started. Chad told me to grow up. My father sent 3 words. Reconsider this decision. I blocked all of them and kept driving west. We reached Big Sur 2 days before the wedding. The place was even more beautiful than photos suggested. Our room had a wall of windows facing the ocean. Everything felt charged with possibility. Our friends arrived, Julian with 3 cameras and mischievous grin, Sienna with champagne. By the evening before the wedding, all 10 were there, having dinner on a terrace overlooking the Pacific as sun painted the sky orange and gold. This is what love looks like, Marcus said. Not the performance, just this. The morning of October 20th dawned clear and perfect. Notifications buzzed with photos from the Hamptons, Chloe in lace and crystals, venue with thousands of white roses. It all looked like every other society wedding, pretty, polished, soulless. I stepped into my dress, silk, simple, minimalist cream that moved like water, hair down in loose waves. Only vintage earrings that belonged to my grandmother, the one person who had always told me I was perfect, exactly as I was. When I looked in the mirror, I saw myself. Not the version I tried to create to please others, just me. Tall, angular, striking, different, beautiful. The ceremony was at 4 o'clock when light would be golden. We chose a cliff spot overlooking the ocean, with nothing but sky and water and rock as backdrop. Just a wooden arch wrapped with eucalyptus, and our 10 friends in a semicircle. When Liam saw me walking toward him, he cried, actual tears streaming down his face. When I reached him, he took both my hands and whispered, "You are the most magnificent thing I have ever seen." Our officiant kept her words simple. This is about 2 people choosing each other, every single day, in a world that will constantly try to tell them who they should be. We had written our own vows, his about how I taught him what courage looked like, mine about choosing each other over and over, building a life that did not need anyone's approval but our own. When we kissed, our friends cheered, the ocean roared, and the sun descended toward the horizon. Julian captured the wind in my hair, the way Liam's hands shook with the ring, the moment we turned and I threw my head back laughing with pure joy. The reception was intimate. Real food, wine from Paso Robles, stories flowing naturally. As the sun set, we went back to the cliff for golden hour photos, me laughing as wind whipped my dress, Liam lifting and spinning me while the ocean crashed behind us. Julian pulled me aside. These aren't just photos, Calantha. These are art. Are you ready for what happens next? I knew he meant posting them tonight, at the exact moment when Chloe's reception would be in full swing. He was going to tell the story. Do it. Let them see. At 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Julian posted. 10 stunning photos, captions simple but devastating. They told her she would make the wedding uncomfortable, so she created her own. Love doesn't need an invitation. Big Sur, October 20th. Number uninvited, number real wedding. He tagged every major wedding publication. Within an hour, 1,000 likes. Within 2 hours, 10,000. Wedding blogs started reposting, adding commentary about raw authenticity, breathtaking location. Then someone found the connection to Chloe's wedding. By midnight, the story was everywhere. A bride uninvited from her sister's wedding marries the same day, and her wedding looks like a dream while her sister's looks like just another society event. People compared photos. Someone leaked images from the Hamptons. Chloe's wedding was beautiful in a generic way, but it looked sterile next to ours, like something you could buy rather than feel. Comments poured in. This is what happens when you choose authenticity. She said, fuck your invitation and built a better life. This looks like love. By morning, articles on brides, Style Me Pretty, The Knot. Influencers dissected every detail. Consensus was we had created something revolutionary, and in the Hamptons, my family was waking up to realize they had been completely upstaged. The call came at 7 in the morning. "Chloe," voice raw from crying. "Everyone is talking about you. My wedding is just a footnote to your story." I thought about being kind. But then I remembered the photo album, my mother calling me a bitch. "That's unfortunate," I said neutrally. "But I thought you had your perfect day. I had mine. I'm happy for you, Chloe. You knew this would happen. I planned to get married to the love of my life in a place that felt true to us. What happened after was out of my control. I hope your marriage is everything you want." I hung up, blocked the number. Liam was watching me with concern and pride mixed together. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Free." The aftermath was a whirlwind. By week's end, Good Morning America wanted to feature us. Our publicist convinced us it would be good for our careers. The interview aired 3 weeks later. We told our story. Kept it simple, focused on choosing yourself, understanding family is about who shows up for you. We did not trash anyone directly. The story told itself. Messages poured in from people who had experienced similar family dynamics. They thanked us for showing it was possible to build something beautiful from rejection. Then Vogue Weddings called. 20-page spread on the Big Sur wedding that changed everything. They created a feature less about the wedding and more about the philosophy. "Your day, your way" became the tagline. The spread came out in February. Cover line: "The wedding that broke, the internet, how one couple redefined celebration." My mother saw it, left a voicemail, voice shaking. "You are making a mockery of this family. Everyone knows now. You're vindictive, Calantha." I deleted it without responding. But her words rattled in my head for days. Was I vindictive? Had I done this out of spite? Liam found me on our balcony one evening. "Talk to me." I told him about the voicemail, the doubt. What if I'm the problem? He took my phone. "Did you get married to hurt them? Or because you wanted to build a life with me and refused to let their rejection stop you from celebrating that?" "Both," I admitted. "I can't lie and say their rejection didn't fuel part of this. That's human. That's normal. But you didn't crash their wedding. You didn't sabotage anything. You built something beautiful for yourself. If they're embarrassed by your joy, that's their problem. You're not the villain. You're the person who refused to accept the supporting role they wrote for you." A month later, a production company called. They wanted to make a documentary about our story. They wanted to call it Uninvited. We agreed. We would tell our story fully, but also include others who had navigated family estrangement, who had built chosen families. The documentary took 6 months to film. Interviews, therapists, family dynamics experts, other couples who married without family's blessing. We went back to Big Sur to recreate wedding moments in cinematic quality. The production company reached out to my family. Eleanor declined. Chloe ignored the request. But my father, surprisingly, agreed. My father sat in the living room, I remembered, looking older, smaller. When asked why they uninvited me, he was quiet for a long time. Eleanor thought it would be easier. Chloe was worried about appearances. And Calantha has always been unapologetically herself. We thought we were protecting Chloe's day. "But you were also telling your other daughter she was unwelcome." He nodded, hands shaking. "I see that now. I just did not know how to stand up to my wife. I never have." I told myself Calantha was strong enough to handle it. But watching this unfold, seeing her succeed without us, I realized we did not lose her because she was difficult. We lost her because we made her feel like being herself was a betrayal. It was the closest to an apology I had ever received. Not perfect, not enough to undo years of enabling my mother's cruelty, but it was acknowledgement. The documentary premiered at Sundance and got picked up by Netflix. It came out a year after our wedding. It sparked conversations about family dynamics, about the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Offers came in. We were asked to write a book. We started a podcast. Brands wanted to work with us. We had accidentally built a platform about authenticity. Through it all, my family was silent. Eleanor never reached out. Chloe sent one text months later, asking if I was happy now that I had humiliated them. I did not respond, but I thought about her question. Was I happy? Not because they were humiliated. That was just karma, but not the source of my joy. I was happy because I had stopped waiting for their approval. I was happy because I had built a life with people who celebrated me. I was happy because I had chosen myself. 15 months after the wedding, Liam and I were in our penthouse in Los Angeles, bought with the book advance and speaking fees. The documentary was playing on television and I found myself watching it again. There was a shot of my mother near the end, filmed at a charity event. A reporter asked about the documentary. She pursed her lips. Some children never learn to be gracious. The camera caught her later, sitting alone while others mingled. She looked small and bitter. I felt nothing. No satisfaction at her isolation. No lingering pain. Just quiet neutrality. Liam came up behind me. "You're watching it again." I turned off the television. I'm done watching. I think I'm actually done with all of it. The anger, the need to prove anything. I'm just done. That's growth. That's freedom. Freedom. It had taken me 29 years to understand. Not about geographic distance or financial independence. About internal liberation. About no longer measuring myself against someone else's yardstick. My phone buzzed. Message from Julian with a screenshot. Vogue Weddings post. Where are they now? The couples who changed wedding culture. Our Big Sur wedding featured prominently as the event that sparked a movement toward authentic celebrations. The piece noted that my estranged sister had divorced after 11 months. That my mother had stepped down from charity boards. I read it once and set my phone down. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated. But mostly, I just felt tired of the narrative. What I wanted to focus on was what came next. Liam had been offered a director position on a major film. I had been approached by couples who wanted me to photograph their weddings because I understood a wedding should reflect the couple, not be a performance. We were planning to start a family soon. We talked late at night about what kind of parents we would be. We promised we would always see our children fully, would never ask them to be smaller or quieter to make us comfortable. That promise felt like the real triumph. Not the viral photos or documentary, just the quiet commitment to break a cycle. But there was one more chapter. It came on a Tuesday afternoon, 18 months after the wedding. I was editing photos when the doorbell rang. When I checked the video intercom, I saw my father standing in the lobby, holding a manila envelope. He looked older than in the documentary, grayer, more hunched. I could have ignored him. But something in his posture, a defeated humility I had never seen, made me buzz him up. When I opened the door, we stood looking at each other. Up close, the changes were pronounced. He had lost weight. New lines marked his face. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. He looked around at the exposed brick, the art, the wedding photographs displayed prominently. He stopped in front of one, Liam and me laughing on the cliff's edge, backlit by sunset. "This is beautiful. You look happy." "I am happy." He nodded. "I came to give you this." He held out the envelope. I almost brought it months ago, after the documentary. But I was too proud, too ashamed. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here." I took it but did not open it. "What is it?" "Papers. The trust fund your grandfather left you, the one your mother convinced me to redirect to Chloe. I've had it restored. With interest. It's yours." It always should have been. I felt something crack in my chest. Not from the money, but from what it represented. Acknowledgement. Admission that I had been wronged. And this? He pulled out a smaller envelope. "Letters. From your grandmother who died when you were 12. She wrote you one for every birthday until you turned 30. Your mother kept them. I found them last month. You deserve to have them." My hands shook taking the second envelope. I remembered my grandmother, the only person who made me feel seen. Why now? He sank onto the couch, head in hands. "Because I watched my marriage fall apart. Because Chloe hasn't spoken to us in months, not since the divorce. Because I sit in that house with your mother and realize we sacrificed the daughter who actually had integrity. Because I'm 67 and I finally understand I've been a coward my entire life." I stayed standing, envelopes clutched. "This doesn't fix anything." "I know." He looked up, eyes wet. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I see it now. I see what we did. And I'm sorry. I'm so deeply, profoundly sorry." The apology hung in the air. I wanted to feel triumphant. Instead, I just felt sad. "I can't have a relationship with any of you right now," I said finally. "Maybe not ever. The documentary, the book, that wasn't about punishing you. It was about freeing myself. But seeing you, having you here, brings back too much. I've built a life that doesn't include that pain, and I need to protect that. I understand." He stood slowly, like it hurt. "But if you ever want to talk, I'll listen. That's all I can offer." After he left, I sat holding the envelopes. Eventually, Liam came home. He sat beside me, and I told him everything. "Do you want to read them?" "I'm afraid to." "What if she was disappointed? Your grandmother? The woman who told you that you were a warrior when you were 8? She loved you exactly as you were." I carefully opened the envelope and pulled out 18 letters, each dated for a birthday I had already passed. I started with the first, for my 13th birthday. "My dearest Calantha," it began in my grandmother's handwriting. "Today, you are 13. Your mother called yesterday, complaining that you refused to wear dresses and dyed part of your hair purple. She wanted my support in reining you in. I told her what I will tell you now. Never dim your light for anyone. Never apologize for taking up space. You are not too tall or too loud or too different. You are perfectly, magnificently you. Stay brave, my warrior girl." I read all 18 letters that evening, sitting with Liam's arm around me, tears streaming. Every single one was a love letter, encouragement, validation. My grandmother had seen me, truly seen me, and loved what she saw. She had known I would struggle. She had known Eleanor would try to break me, and she had left these letters as a lifeline. The last letter, for my 30th birthday, ended with a prediction. By now, you will have learned to choose yourself. It may have cost you. But remember this, my darling girl. People who love you for who you pretend to be do not actually love you. Only those who see you fully and celebrate you completely deserve a place in your life. Build that life without apology. I wish I could be there to see it, but I know it will be magnificent. I put the letters down and looked at Liam. She knew. Years before any of this happened, she knew. She knew because she knew Eleanor. And she knew you were strong enough to survive her. That night, I made a decision. I would accept the trust fund because it was rightfully mine. I would treasure my grandmother's letters. But I would not invite my father back into my life. Not yet. Maybe not ever. His apology was his to give, but I was not obligated to accept it as enough. And I would stop defining myself by my family's rejection. That narrative had served its purpose, helped me process and heal. But it was time to let it go, to stop being the girl who was uninvited and become simply the woman who chose herself. 2 years after the wedding, we had built something remarkable. Not just a career or brand, but a life. Friends who were family. Work that mattered. Each other. And we had finally stopped looking backward. The final scene of the documentary was footage of me standing on that cliff in Big Sur, filmed 6 months after the wedding. I was alone, looking out at the Pacific. The director asked if I had any regrets, if I wished things had gone differently. My answer was simple. I used to think being excluded was the worst thing that could happen, but it turned out to be the best gift they ever gave me, because it forced me to stop waiting for permission to live my life. It taught me that love without respect is not love at all, and it showed me that you can build a beautiful life from the ashes of rejection. The final image was me turning away from the ocean and walking back toward Liam, who was waiting just out of frame, a smile on my face that was purely, authentically happy. Now, sitting in our Los Angeles penthouse, I understood what I had not fully grasped then. My mother had been right about one thing. I had made Chloe's wedding uncomfortable. I had made it uncomfortable for them to pretend their cruelty had no consequences. I had made it uncomfortable for them to maintain the fiction that appearance mattered more than authenticity. They had not invited me to their perfect day, and in doing so, they had given me permission to build something they could never touch, never diminish, never take away. They had set me free without meaning to, and I had taken that freedom and built an empire from it. Not an empire of money or fame, though those had come. An empire of self-respect and chosen family and unconditional love. I turned off the television and walked to the window, looking out at city lights scattered below like fallen stars. Liam came up behind me, and we stood together in the quiet. Tomorrow, we would record a podcast about moving beyond revenge into genuine peace. Next week, book signing in New York. Next month, we would start trying for a baby. We had a whole life ahead, full of possibility. But tonight, I stood in the home we had built and felt grateful. Grateful for the rejection that catalyzed my transformation. Grateful for the pain that taught me my worth. Grateful for the family that failed me, because in failing me, they freed me to find the family I actually needed. They told me I would ruin everything just by existing. So I built something they could never touch. And it turned out that the thing I built was not just a viral wedding or documentary or brand. It was a life. A real, messy, beautiful, authentic life. A life I chose. A life that was entirely, unapologetically mine. And that, in the end, was the only revenge I needed.